Okay, welcome to the show, everybody, for Tuesday, January 30th. Jerry Teabag here at Mission Control in Mission, British Columbia, doing our second episode for the new year. And I got a great surprise for everybody. We got the partner in crime, the living epitome of the Dunning-Kruger syndrome, Craig Reedy back. Hey, Craig, how you doing, buddy?
I think Google's Dunning-Kruger syndrome. Is that an office reference or something?
I think it's actually the Dunning-Kruger effect, but yeah, you can go. Basically, it means somebody who thinks they're a lot smarter than they are.
Oh. Single?
Guilty.
Have you?
So how are things? Well, how was the holidays?
Holidays was good. Had hung out with the family.
Well, I got to share with you a few messages we got while you were inexplicably absent. So, yeah, so these are messages I received, Craig, where are you? Craig, are you okay? Craig, do you need bail money? Craig, Jerry sucks at this. We need you. So I could go on and on. So welcome back. I'm glad you're back. I'm sure everybody else is too. So we missed you, buddy. We missed you.
Be back. Looking forward to 24.
Yes, going to be a good year. I think we could just jump right into the Canucks and Oilers. Everybody knows my loyalties. And what are you like when you watch an Oilers game? Are you like jumping up and down and right into it, or are you just kind of a passive observer?
Well, I am not. I'm a relatively passive watcher. What I like most is there isn't any glaring holes right now. Whereas start of the year, we've talked ad nauseum about that. Last couple of years, like last 10 years or more, there's always been a glaring hole with the Oilers, and I think this is as complete a team as we've had in like years. So that's the first thing I noticed, is that there isn't. I mean, every period of time, start of the season, obviously goaltending, team defense, can't score, Connor's hurt. There was something, but right now, and even through the 16 games, it's a full. There's no holes to that game right now. There's no gaps in that game. There's hits and misses for sure, but there's nothing. There's nothing there's nothing they're missing right now.
Yeah, well, the one criticism I'm hearing on Twitter, and I refuse to call it X, by the way, it's Twitter. So anyway, on Twitter is that during the 16 game winning streak, they've only played 4 playoff teams. But what was it? Rangers, Leafs, Philly, and Nashville last night. So
did you say what teams? Qualify those teams again?
The Rangers, Leafs, Flyers, and Nashville are all playoff teams. All the rest are below the playoff line.
Yeah.
But there are some tough outs in those those wins. I mean, Detroit's not an easy out. LA's sliding, but they're still a tough opponent. Even San Jose can jump up and bite you. They beat the Canucks. So Montreal's not an easy out. Seattle's not an easy out. Calgary's not an easy out. So those are all good, solid wins. But what people don't take into account is that previous to the 16-game winning streak, the Oilers had an 8-game winning streak. And they beat Washington, Vegas, Winnipeg, Carolina. So, that argument to me, that dog won't hunt. But then they lost 3 in a row, Tampa Bay, Florida, Islanders, which all good teams. You can't hang your head over losses to those guys. So this 16-game winning streak is like nobody else has done it. So, it's so it that argument to me doesn't hold water because sure, yeah, there have been some week they played Chicago and San Jose and whatnot, but you still got to win those games and whatnot. So this 16 game winning streak is a monumental thing to me. Like, it's absolutely amazing, and I don't like the Oilers, like so. It's not easy for me to lay praise at their feet, but yeah. So you must be feeling pretty good about the team right about now.
Oh, it's cooking with gas. It's right now. I mean, it's. I don't think I've been as excited to watch them for our chances to do well in the playoffs and put another ring on their fingers. So, and that playoff thing. I mean, you can skew the numbers whichever way you want, but every other team has played those bottom feeder teams in the last 16, 36 games, 16, 25, 30 games. Every other team in the Pacific has played all those teams. And how many of those 16 matches, bulletin board stuff, how many of those 16 games did the opposing team want to be the one that broke the streak?
Right, exactly. Good point.
Like, come on now. And as you said, there was some easier outs, but like Nashville last night played an absolutely like freaking phenomenal game. Like that was a playoff game last night.
Yeah, textbook road game, so
and then the
for an Eastern team that's come out west, they they played the textbook, checked them into the ground, and hope for a goal at the other end. So yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't dress Juicy last night.
Yeah.
They might have played the night before, but
so what do you think was the turning point? Like, what clicked that all of a sudden, because they were struggling big time at the beginning of the year. They just, nothing would go right for them. It just was the funk of all funks. And me personally, I knew they would come out of it eventually, but it just seemed like it was going on and on and on, and then finally it just seemed to all click in, and it started with a 5-0 win over Washington, which was the fourth game of a 4-game road trip, and they had lost the previous 3 games, and and they didn't play well. They deserved to lose every one. But then they come into Washington, they win 5-0. They go on an 8-game winning streak against some quality teams. So do you think it was the coach? Do you think the new coach, Knobloch, is the reason, or what do you think it is?
I don't think Knobloch is the TSN turning point. I think Knobloch has been at the beginning of the season. I think they were listening to their own hype, or not necessarily listening to their own hype, but they put a lot of hype and expectations on themselves, like cup or bust. Like, so you go into the season like that, thinking, all right, this is our year, and then all of a sudden you shit the bed.
Yeah, because a lot of the pundits were picking them to win the cup this year. Oh.
For sure, and those pundits are still right, but I think like any dressing room or any team, when all of a sudden you start gripping the sticks, and I think they were just afraid to make a mistake, so they get walloped by Vancouver twice, which I think that's a kick in the nutsack, and then all of a sudden they just couldn't get any rhythm, rhyme, or reason, and then Connor was hurt, so all of a sudden they couldn't turn that corner with Connor being hurt. Like, it was night and day. Like, leading up to that Heritage Classic game, and then him playing in that game, you could just see he obviously wasn't right. And goaltending was awful. I think singularly it was the goaltending, and goaltending is what got Woody fired. But they were just afraid to make those mistakes. So Knobloch comes in, he's very calm, I think, and you look at his press conference, and he's very Connor-like as far as that
even keeled. Yeah.
and so I think and underestimated everybody shat all over him. I think Coffey has had a bigger he's had a massive influence on the defensive side of that game. He said to those guys, "You're going to make mistakes. Go with your instinct. Your instincts are great. Your instincts are good. You're professional hockey players. Skate the puck. Make that play. Don't always look for the system play. Like play to your strengths." So I think they were afraid to make a mistake. Connor was hurt, but biggest reason was goaltending. And now that the goaltending was solidified, the defense all of a sudden when the goaltenders were making a save. Like as we know, when a goaltender lets in the first shot in a playoff game, it's a bit of a kick in the nutsack, right? So you're wondering, can this guy make a save? So that game got fixed. The defensive side of the game, the Oilers are top 5 in all the defensive categories, and on that, the defensive pairings in the league, like Ekholm and Bouchard are in the level of Devontae's and McCarr, Quinn Hughes and Hornacek.
Hronek, yeah.
But and then even the second and third tiers, like Nurse and Ceci, they're playing. The Oilers playing lights out D right now, which singularly is like long way back. But I think the back end of the game is what solidified and has allowed them to do what they're
doing. Yeah, well, the thing that I noticed is that they sent Jack Campbell down to Bakersfield, and he was struggling, no doubt. But the way they were doing the goalies, game, rotating them every game, I can't see Skinner excelling in that kind of role because he is a number one goalie through and through. He's always been. He is now, and he's a horse. He's a big guy. He can handle the workload, and I don't understand why they wouldn't go with him. I mean, you could argue Jack Campbell's contract. He's making what $8 million a year or whatever, $5 million a year, and so they figure they got to play him to get their return on investment. But in reality, goalies don't work like that. The mentality is I'm the guy. I'm going to take the team and run with it, and then Skinner is that guy. He is. And I have no surprise at all that since they have gone with him as the true number one, that the Oilers turned it around, because it just is a mindset that he has, and he has all the confidence in the world, and he's still a young guy. He's still in his early 20s. So, I think, he could play every game. And so, I think he's a horse and you gotta ride him. So I'm happy that Knobloch made that change anyway, decided to go with a number one goalie. And, but the problem too is now if he does get hurt, they're screwed. I mean, who do they have? Like they got Campbell in Bakersfield, but is Campbell and Picard going to be able to take the ball and run with it? Do you think if Skinner does go down?
Well, pat you on the back. You made that mention about Skinner, like a goalie wanting and being given that role, and hearing the coach say, "You're my guy. We're gonna run with you." Woody made a mistake. He dressed Campbell in the first game of the season, and that definitely should have been Skinner's. And right off the bat, it's like, well, okay, so we're fighting for who's going to be the number one goalie. Skinner earned it from last year. Skinner was overplayed in the playoffs for 100%, in my opinion, anyways. They should have gone to Campbell and leaned on Campbell, because when Campbell went in the playoffs, played very well. So that was a big miss on Woody's part. Fast forward to today, Pickard's done. You can't ask for any more for an NHL backup than what he's done. But what you're alluding to is he the fix if knock wood, Skinner goes down. No, luckily Campbell has turned his season around. He was terrible when he went down to the AHL. Just continued on, but has gotten his game together. Where we were saying he's got something like he's 9-3 in the last 12 games and has like a 922 save percentage. So he's playing back at that level. So I think that's incredibly handy for the Oilers if something happens again, knock wood, but potentially to bring Campbell up into the home stretch and go with Campbell and Skinner. Campbell comes up as strictly the backup goaltender. And he's got that experience to do that. So I think you run with Pickard until the wheels start to rattle with him. But I think you run. But they have to play him every third game. Sorry, every fourth game. Like they've got to be really careful about playing Skinner too much. That for all the reasons that you just said, they can't. He doesn't have that experience to run 55, 60 games in a season, which would be perilous going into the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, no, you don't want to ride the number one guy too hard, but like I say, I'm glad that he's been designated the number one. Now he's a quality goalie. I really like watching him play. And
you're going to segue to Thatcher Demko now?
No, actually, I was going to segue to Corey Perry. What do you think the effect Corey Perry is going to have?
Well, I'll answer that with a question. Do you think having players in the room that have won Stanley Cups is a good thing?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. But no,
they have one.
Yes, I'm just, there are rumors about what happened in Chicago, but
he was a boozer, and he made a fool of himself in whatever shape or form. Like he was an absolute goofball. I mean, what's his face? The coach from Dallas, like who Montgomery was a boozer and an alcoholic, and he obviously did something. Sorry, I totally interrupted you, but
no, that's good though, because I didn't know that. I don't pay much attention to Corey Perry just because I hate him.
Well, and exactly how to get I hate to play against him. Would love him on my team, guy.
Yeah,
but you know how long that list is. We got one, and we need a little asshole on our team, and I think a big domino from that is that Kane doesn't have to be that ass, that presence on the ice. Perry can do that as well. Perry's still got some hands. You could run him first line all the way down to the fourth line, first power play, throw him in front of the net or whatever. You've got that flexibility, and they're going to need that flexibility. But having a guy like that, I have no doubt that everybody that he's ever played with absolutely loves and adores the guy. And at the end of the day, 3 years in a row, playoff contending teams went to the finals, wanted that guy on their team.
Yeah, no doubt. And you're right. He brings that agitator label with him, and that it's gonna make teams think twice about. Yeah. So,
and you need that in the playoffs, even more specifically. And the Oilers don't have anybody that can do that. Kane can do that, but we need Kane putting the puck in the net and playing that role first. It's like Darnell Nurse, how he had to play the tough guy for as long as he had to, and it just took away from him being a shutdown defenseman. Like the fact that you don't notice Darnell as much right now, which is for a defenseman, I'm thrilled by that. Like the less you notice a defenseman, the better.
Yes. Well, unless you're Quinn Hughes, because he just makes himself noticeable. So, switching to the. Sorry.
We talk about Quinn.
Sure. It was, he his level of hockey IQ is just off the charts. It just,
It's
and
incredible.
yeah, and it just his awareness of where everybody is on the ice at any given time. It just amazes me when they drafted him. They got him 5th overall, I think. I can't remember who the 4th pick was, but it was a surprise.
Was it fifth?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And the 4th pick was a surprise. The Canucks thought that he was going to go 4th, and that they weren't going to get him, and they were tickled pink because they thought they were describing him as the next Bobby Orr, and I'm thinking, what? And I watched Quinn Hughes in the World Junior Championship, and I was not impressed. I mean, he kept giving the puck away, and like he didn't look good. Like I just thought, this is this is Bobby Orr, so. Anyway, I might have been a little quick to judge on that one because man, he's just been incredible, man. Just
I think
head and shoulders.
No, I don't think anybody expected him to be playing at the level that he's playing. I think that's everybody. Everybody, I think, had that expectation of Jack because he's a forward and an elite defenseman. I'm sorry. There's that an elite defenseman puts you above so many fantastic forwards.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no doubt.
Elite forward, I think, is higher. Well, I mean, there's obviously very similar, but those above average players, those 20, 30 goal scorers, 30 goal scorers, don't touch an elite defenseman. An elite defenseman in this league is incredible.
Yeah, and they're few and far between. But my fear was like after Quinn Hughes' first year was that he was going to be another Erik Karlsson. Like to me, like everybody says Erik Karlsson, man, what a great defenseman. He, Hall of Famer. And so, to me, he's terrible. It's just like, yeah, he racks up points like crazy, but he's always a minus. Like if you go over over his whole career, I have seen him pull the puck out of his own net. Like I can't tell you how many times. Like it just happens over and over and over again. And I'm sure that Pittsburgh is regretting having traded for him because he had one more great year where he put up 100 points, and now I don't think he's even close to doing that.
Oh, I don't think, and I think that'll take some. I mean, I think Pittsburgh's playing better now. I think their power play is starting to find its legs. So, I mean, the Oilers' power play didn't start rocking and rolling until probably 20 games ago, and it's cooking now. But you bring in a presence like that into Pittsburgh. I don't think it's going to be seamless. And I get where you're going with Karlsson. And last year, I don't think you put up 100 points. It's tough not to give somebody the Vezina as a defenseman. Do I think that he was the best defenseman last year?
Norris.
No way. Norris, yeah. But
is that Dunning-Kruger effect again?
What did I say? Did I say the wrong trophy?
Yeah, you said Vezina.
Oh, Vezina. Something you were still trying to get. But you look at Ottawa. When you're the go-to defenseman for all things offense and defense as a defenseman, and for the Senators, post their fantastic years, the Alfie years, you got to put that in perspective. But yet, didn't he win a Norris?
Oh yeah, I think he's won a couple.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, like, on talking about elite defensemen, I saw this stat. It was some post. So right now, this was a few days. This was on the 23rd of January. 7 defensemen have between 30 to 40 minutes of time on ice in the offensive zone with the puck on their stick.
Okay, so they have possession of the puck in the offensive zone for 40 minutes.
40 minutes. No, sorry. 7 defensemen have between 30 and 40
minutes
puck on their stick in the offensive zone.
So total out of the whole season, 40 minutes?
As of January 23rd.
Okay,
only
right.
7.
Right.
I know you're tough with math. You can grab a pen if you want.
I just got to have all my... Good thing. It's a good thing I'm not wearing socks.
So of those 7, do you want to know where the 7 are? Guess the 7.
Let me think. Darlene.
Yeah.
Makar.
Yeah.
Bouchard.
Yep. Your favorite. You were just talking about.
Oh, Carlson.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank now.
Yossi in Nashville, and Matheson. Where's Matheson? And Adam Fox.
So Florida? Is Matheson in Florida?
Yeah. Yes.
And Fox for the Rangers. Okay.
Yeah. So 7 defensemen have between 30 and 40 minutes. None of those 7 have more than 40. So they're all less than 40. So Quinn, no D-man is in the 40s. Guess what Quinn Hughes' number is for the puck on his stick in the offensive zone?
45.
Keep going.
47.
Keep going.
49.
Keep going.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Keep going.
He's in the 50s?
50s.
Oh,
Keep going.
53.
A little more.
54.
54-27. 50
Wow.
minutes.
And nobody else has approached 40. Like nobody else has gotten to 40. Wow. That is incredible.
I'm in awe of him. Like I'll watch the Canucks, and I like the team right now, and we'll talk about them. But I enjoy watching that guy with the puck on his stick. Like both he and his brother. But Quinn is absolutely magical to watch with the puck on his stick. Incredible.
Especially when he's twisting and turning and losing guys and whatnot. Like he just does a little shoulder fake, and the guy's ankles are breaking, and they're trying to keep with him. And so yeah, he's incredible to watch. And man, we are so lucky to have him. It just thank you, Detroit, for drafting some guy who's not even on their team anymore.
Do you remember on Harlem Juice?
Yes.
So remember Juice is working for Cliff Roning's stick company?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the custom made sticks. So they have a little area with a white like fiberglass thing where you can skate on, and you can shoot the puck to try these out. So Juice opened it up and he said, if you guys ever want to come down. And so we were talking, and men's hockey, you think of 54 minutes. So to put this in perspective, a men's hockey game at 8 rings. So I shared this with Brock, this stat. He was on his way to the rink when I shared it with him. So that night, I sent him a text. I sent him that stat. I'm like, what did you get? And I went to rate 76 seconds. And I was like, oh, probably more than that. But like a men's hockey game, men's rec hockey, how long do you think we have the puck on our stick? Like the muscle memory of having and playing in a game with the puck on your stick is incredibly low. Like in a year playing men's hockey, let's say you play 30 games. Do you get 3 minutes a night with it on your stick? Maybe an hour and a half a year of the puck on your stick, just in the game, not in a zone. Season. Let's say you get 2 hours. You spent $1,000 to have the puck on your stick for 2 hours.
Yeah, really. Crazy? Yeah, well, yeah. That's an incredible stat. I never would have thought to even look that up. So good on you. But speaking of the Canucks, they. I asked you earlier what kind of fan are you, and you can just sit there and watch a game and not react to all this stuff going on, right? You can just.
Well, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. said I was.
Well, you said you
more
were pretty passive. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not yelling. I'm not talking. Like in the
Yeah.
playoffs, I'll talk, but I'm not. No.
No. To me, like I'm an easygoing guy. I don't lose my head a lot. That's one thing goaltending has taught me, is not to lose my head in a, when everybody else is panicking. I'm able to keep calm and think. And so, but when the Canucks are playing, I cannot hold it in. Just I am up and down and yelling and like, what do you do? Like, what are you just like it's gotten
up?
I stand up. I'm standing up and I'm like, and I just cannot contain myself. So it's gotten to the point where if they lose, it just absolutely ruins my night. Like so I can't watch them. I don't. I purposely PVR the games and I'll watch it if they win. Because that's the only way I can watch, because I'm like, last night I was watching that Columbus game because I thought, well, Columbus, they're they're on a long road trip, they're tired, it should be an easy win for the Canucks, but no. And they give up a shorthanded goal and on a bad giveaway by Petey, and I turned it off. I couldn't watch because it just I turned it off and hit the record button, and that's just and then I checked the score later and they were down 4-1, and I'm like, oh man, just like, what is going on? They're gonna lose to Columbus. I get totally wrapped up in it, and that's what scared me about 2011 was how emotionally invested I was. Like, it just, I was almost suicidal. It affected me so bad, and to this day, it still grates at me, so, just like,
you as a Canuck fan, I've got pals that are like diehards, and I get that you guys have had
we're in the sad club, yeah.
Sad club, and I don't mind. I love that you guys are in the sad club. I absolutely adore it.
Well, you've got 6 Stanley Cups, so you don't know what it's like.
Hold on a sec. We also have the decade of darkness, the decade plus of darkness, where from 06 on, it was we were in top. So I get it. But you, as a fan of the Canucks, you and my buddies, like, you all are still waiting for the other shoe to drop this year. when I think I like tip of the hat to the Canucks, as much as it grinds me to do that. But you have a Vezina caliber goalie. You have who I think is going to handedly win the Norris. I think he's going to beat Makar just because of what he brings to the Canucks versus Makar. And that's not a dig at Makar by any means. And then you've got some heart level. You got guys playing out of their minds, and you have some heart level forwards right now. But you still are waiting. Like, that's a dream to have a Vezina and a Norris, and then even if it was above average, if it was average, and a couple of different players. But you guys you got Patterson. That Lotto line is playing the best hockey of their careers right now. Yeah,
no, and you know what? I want to be up there leading the bandwagon, but you're right. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, because when they had their litmus test games to see, how they compared to Vegas and the Avalanche, they failed miserably. Like, that to me is a real indicator. Like, I know, one game, you shouldn't put so much emphasis on one game, but like, to me, Vegas and Colorado are still the big pigs at the trough. That's what I said. They're still the teams to beat, and Canucks are doing great. Yes, I love it. I'm I'm with them, but like they play Vegas again in March, and I think Colorado. They play Colorado on the second game of a back-to-back on the road. They play in Minnesota, then they go to Colorado to play. So, I won't put too much emphasis on that game. But that Vegas game, they better show up. Like, not that they have to win or win by a large margin, but they at least have to compete. They lost badly. Vegas made them look like idiots. They
sure made us look like idiots for 2 games.
Yeah, well, you say small sample size. And that was, we were just taking.
Hi, Kettle, you're black. I'm teabag. Like, you're taking snapshots of two games of elite level teams that can play 60 minutes when they put their minds to it. And you have to admit that the Canucks have put together 60-minute efforts this year compared
no
to
doubt.
more 60 minutes efforts than in the last 3 years consistently.
Yeah.
That I think your guys' other shoe is you're not going to believe it until they get to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, that's they say the litmus test of all litmus tests is the playoffs. So, but can the Canucks beat Vegas in a 7-game series? I'm
yes.
I can't say one way or the other, but
yes.
It's
yes, they can.
They can, but I say everything. Vegas just rolls those 4 lines, and they do not change their play. No matter, they can be up 10-0 or down 10-0, they're still playing the same way, and that's what makes them so tough. And with Adin Hill, came out of nowhere, and it's like, he was number 3 on the depth chart when the playoffs started last year, and so who thought he would be able to? But he's been incredible.
Did Stone win it?
No, Stone won it. Yeah. But Hill was right there. He could have won it. So
Vegas wouldn't have done what they did. Like I'm. It sounds like a shill, but that Western final was the Stanley Cup when Vegas beat the Oil, and Adin Hill was the difference. Adin Hill, and not taking anything away from Vegas, but Adin Hill, and you guys have that. You have that in Demko, where he can single-handedly win you a game. Skinner, he's not this last game. The game before, he was lights out. Who did they play before Nashville? It'll come to me. But he was the difference. Like he won that game. Where in the playoffs, it's rhetorical that you need a goalie able to steal your game every now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, Adin Hill got hurt. He was out for a few weeks, and Vegas struggled. They struggled. Now they got him back now, and now they're back on track again. So, Logan Thompson is a good goalie, but he's not a true number 1. And so,
which goes back to your ask of the whole Skinner, Picard, Pickard. If you got your number 1 goalie go down, like if Demko, same thing. If Demko goes down, or those kind of players. Your comment about Colorado, I don't think Colorado has the depth that they had last year, and over the last couple of years. I don't think they're still an elite team, but I don't think they have I don't think they have the same kind of depth that they had.
And Georgiev hasn't been great. He's been like, I think his save percentage is around 900. So.
But Colorado especially proved that you just need an average goalie to win your Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
When you have, and they had that depth in front of them, top to bottom, whereas you need average goalie at best. You can't have anything below that.
No, but you got to have an elite team if you're only having an average goalie. Look at Detroit with Osgood. How many people said Detroit won those cups in spite of Osgood, not because of him. But that was a little bit unfair, I thought, because Osgood is a quality goalie. But but he's not a superstar goalie. He's not a Hall of Fame goalie. So, but Colorado won with Darcy Kemper, who's a quality goalie. He's playing with Washington now. Washington's doing fairly well. They're not in a playoff spot, but they got a winning record. So
does Ovi get to Gretzky's?
No, I don't think so. He seems to have fallen off. I don't think he maybe has 10 goals this year. So, he'd have to get another. He'd have to have like 2 40-goal seasons or something like that to get close. So
wasn't he needed like 3 30-goal seasons to like be sniffing at it? And
so I think I think age is finally creeping up to Ovi. So he's but
do you think it's as much age? Do you think it's? And I agree. Do you think it's as much age versus when I say age, I'm of the team, and I'm not saying necessarily years of age, but just that Washington team just isn't.
Well, Washington's the oldest team in the league. They're on average age. Yeah, they're the only team that's average age is over 30.
Wow.
Now here's a trivia question for you.
Brett Calgan.
That's right. How did you know? Brett Calligan. How did that name come out of the woodwork? Him and Gretzky used to watch The Young and Restless together.
Yes.
Who is younger? The youngest coach in the NHL or the oldest player?
Youngest coach, the oldest player. Sir, say that question again.
Yeah, who is younger? Who is younger, the youngest coach or the oldest player?
Well, 37, 38. The youngest coach. I'm going to say the oldest player.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Giordano, Toronto's 40. And
wow.
I think his name's Cameron Marbury, coach for Washington, is 42. So, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, I thought Paul Maurice he had coached for 3 different teams, and on his 3rd team, he was still the youngest coach in the NHL. So, he was. He's a great coach. Yeah, so good in front of the camera. Like he just comes up with those zingers. It's like
I pay to go see him talk. Like if he did a speaking.
Like a TED talk or something. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he'd be an interesting guy. So anyway, we've come to the end of our time today, Owen, and I just want to know that I bought you a Christmas present. So, I bought you a Christmas present, but I haven't seen you, so I couldn't give it to you. So anyway, we got to get together soon because I got you an Edmonton Oilers chocolate hockey puck. So.
Nice. 1981. Here I come again.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been holding on to this for like 3 months now.
Or 1982 was the last time I had an Oiler chocolate puck.
Yeah. So next week we're gonna have, hopefully, we've got him penciled in. Nathan Lajoie is going to come back, and we're going to talk modern goaltending, differences between now and maybe 20 years ago or even longer. So we got him, and in a month's time we've got Dan Giancola coming back on because we want to talk to him about his mental health struggles, and we didn't get to talk to him about it much on our last interview, and Craig couldn't make it that day, so hopefully we'll be able to get all 3 of us together and talk about mental health. So looking forward to that, and have a good 2 weeks off, Craig, and we'll see you in a fortnight.
Sounds good. Love you.
Love you too, buddy. Take care.
Take care.